Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom, a little girl was born into a humble home. Her father held her in his arms for the very first time. His eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of love. "You are my miracle," he whispered softly. From that day on, he became her protector, her strength, her world. He rocked her to sleep on quiet nights, walked with her tiny steps in the morning sun, and promised her, again and again, "I will always take care of you." Cinderella grew up wrapped in her father's warmth and her mother's gentle love. She was their only child, their greatest blessing.
Mommy, look at the butterflies outside.
They're so beautiful, sweetie.
Can we go see them?
Of course.
She was only 8 years old, and life felt like a warm dream. She lived happily with her mother, her first and only world. Cinderella was her mother's only daughter, and their small home was filled with laughter, soft hugs, and quiet bedtime stories. Every smile they shared made Cinderella's heart feel safe, complete. But sometimes, life changes without warning. When Cinderella turned 10, her world fell silent. Her mother passed away, leaving behind an emptiness no child should ever feel. The house was still the same, but the warmth was gone. Little Cinderella often sat alone, holding on to memories, whispering her mother's name in the quiet nights. Time passed. Her father remarried, hoping to give Cinderella a new beginning. He loved her deeply, but fate was unkind once again. When Cinderella was 13, her father also passed away, leaving her alone in a house that no longer felt like home. From that day on, Cinderella was no longer treated like a daughter. At 14, her days began before sunrise, sweeping dusty floors, washing endless dishes, cooking meals she never got to enjoy. While her stepsisters laughed and lived in comfort, Cinderella worked silently, her hands tired, but her heart still gentle. She never complained. She never raised her voice. Somewhere deep inside, she believed kindness would one day be answered. When Cinderella turned 16, a royal invitation arrived. The king was hosting a grand ball, and the prince would choose his future bride. The house filled with excitement, but not for Cinderella. Her stepsisters prepared beautiful dresses, shining shoes, and practiced their dances. Cinderella helped them with a soft smile, even though her own heart quietly ached. She had nothing to wear, and when they left her behind, the door closing slowly, the silence felt heavier than ever. Cinderella sat alone, and for the first time, tears filled her eyes. "I wish just once I could be seen," she whispered. And then, something magical happened. A soft, warm glow filled the room. Standing before her was a fairy godmother, smiling with kindness. "Do not be afraid, my dear child," she said gently. "Tonight, you will go to the ball." When the fairy waved her wand once more, outside the house, a simple pumpkin glowed brightly, transforming into a magnificent royal carriage. Strong, graceful white horses appeared, their manes shining under the moonlight. They bowed gently, ready to take Cinderella to the palace. With a wave of her wand, Cinderella's torn clothes turned into a breathtaking gown, shimmering like starlight. Glass slippers appeared on her feet, glowing under the moon. "But remember," the fairy said softly, "return before midnight, for magic does not last forever." Cinderella smiled through joyful tears and thanked her with all her heart. At the ball, everything stopped. As Cinderella stepped into the grand hall, every eye turned towards her. She moved gracefully, not because of the dress, but because of the kindness she carried within. The prince saw her, and in that moment, his heart knew. They danced, they laughed, they spoke as if the world around them had disappeared. For Cinderella, it felt like a dream she never wanted to wake up from. But then, the clock began to chime. 1, 2, 12. Fear filled her heart. She ran, leaving behind one glass slipper on the palace steps. The prince picked it up, holding it carefully. He promised himself he would find the girl whose kindness had touched his soul. The next day, he searched the entire kingdom. Many tried the slipper. None fit. When he reached Cinderella's home, her stepsisters pushed forward eagerly, but failed once again. Then, 17-year-old Cinderella stepped forward quietly. "May I try?" she asked softly. As she placed her foot inside the glass slipper, it fit perfectly. The room fell silent. The prince smiled, his eyes filled with joy. He had found her, not because of magic, but because of her heart. Soon after, Cinderella married the prince in a beautiful ceremony filled with love and light. She forgave her stepsisters, proving that her heart had always been pure. And so, she lived happily ever after. Not because life was perfect, but because she never lost hope. And that, dear friends, is the story of Cinderella, a reminder that kindness, patience, and belief in goodness can turn even the darkest moments into magic. May your heart always believe, just a little.